reviews are in, and we're going to tell you what they are. He's Todd Vandenberg, I'm Rob Steele, and we've got an extra long show for you this week because we got 4 movies. And quite honestly, yes, I think we're saving the best one for last. No, I'm not telling you what it is yet, haha. We're going to start off with Todd, who saw, what was this, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
It is, indeed, the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Probably, at this point, most people have heard of it. If you haven't, this is the latest Joel and Ethan Coen film, which is celebration for people who like weird movies, because that's kind of the home of weird movies. The difference with this one is, well, there's actually several differences. For one thing, it's a Western. Surprise, you didn't expect that from the Coen brothers.
From a Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it doesn't sound Western. Oh, I'm sorry, exactly. It sounds exactly Western.
And it's an anthology film. 6 different stories within this film. And it's on Netflix. It was released theatrically, so people who scream about streaming movies shouldn't be eligible for Oscars can be quiet, Mr. Spielberg. So they did that. But mainly it's a Netflix film. More proof, again, that Netflix can produce some really good quality entertainment, because this is really good quality entertainment. It is, the framing device is great. It opens up with a person just reading stories from a book, Tales of the Old West, and the first tale is the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And it's all of the stories, all 6 of them have to do with death. Hey, funny. Not surprising, being the Coen brothers. Buster Scruggs itself is the opening story, and it's odd and funny and strange, and really, really enjoyed the opening segment. I enjoyed the whole movie. A couple of the segments might be not as entertaining. A couple of them are pretty damn dark. Hey, hello, it's about death. But really, really good film. The opening one is about a singing cowboy. And it's Tim Blake Nelson, who's just, he seems to has the most agreeable nature to him in most of his films. And he's very agreeable and nice in this film as Buster Scruggs, except that he's just a stone-cold killer who rides around in the fancy white outfit of good guy cowboys, and he's not a good guy at all. And he's singing almost constantly about it's just, oh my god, it's just so funny, and it's just so well done. The whole movie is excellent. Great cast. Liam Neeson is in it. There's just lots of odd little twists to the film throughout the movie. You just really have to, if you like any of the Coen brothers movies, you've got to see this. If you like westerns, you have to see this. Really, really entertaining. There's no point in going into the different segments, just that they all have something to do with death, and they're all very, very well done, interesting, very entertaining movie. Major recommendation for the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Which sounds like I'll have something to watch this weekend.
Indeed.
Because, because I didn't watch enough this week. Yeah, that's it. No, I actually saw a couple things this weekend. The first is something that I think I even had it in the opening credits of the show for a while. The Predator came out on DVD. Well, came out on streaming, comes out on DVD next week. And, we're familiar with the Predator character because we've seen the first 2. So is the Predator a sequel, or is it a reboot? Because we were told it was a reboot, and it's not a reboot. Especially since the first 2 movies are mentioned. Here's the events of the first 2 movies. Plot point. And Jake Busey, son of Gary, plays his dad's character's son from Predator 2.
That's awesome.
Ooh, look. A tie-in. Now, in this particular Predator movie, let's see, a character's name is Boyd Holbrook, who's played by Boyd Holbrook is the actor. He plays Quinn McKenna, who is a Special Forces sniper who, while on a job, almost has a Predator ship crash on him. Oops. And basically he tracks down where the ship is and loots it, because that's what you do. He mails it back to his house as proof that UFOs exist, because he knows he's going to be captured before then and not have any proof because it'll all be taken away. That makes sense. Unfortunately, when he mailed it to his house, his son, played by Jacob Tremblay, who plays the autistic and thus able to translate Predator programming and writing son Rory, opens the package and inadvertently not only lures the Apex Predator, which is my name for the bigger version that should have been in the movie, the 11-foot tall Predator, but wasn't. Anyway, lures him to Earth with the looted parts and starts a chase scene. But, anyway, well, that's just, how to get the bad guy, the alien bad guy, to Earth. Daddy McKenna, meanwhile, was, of course, put in psychiatric care because aliens, they don't exist. That can't possibly be why your mission went awry.
Of course.
So he's put in psychiatric care and put on a bus, transferred to another psychiatric prison with a bunch of other military people. Oh, look, it's most of the rest of the cast. They're all in this bus. And they eventually escape from the bus when the Predator attacks the bus because they decide to go to the facility where the Predator who was in the crashed ship has been experimented on by Olivia Munn, kind of. Actually, she was just hired by the bad guys who work in this facility. I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. I really am. Anyway, Olivia Munn escapes, hooks up with McKenna, not like that, and his band of psychiatric care needed heroes, ? Although there are a few good lines in this, like, wait a minute, predators actually hunt for food and out of necessity, but this guy's a game hunter, so he shouldn't be called a predator, he should be called a game hunter. Yeah, but that's not as catchy a name. Fine, whatever. Anyway, Olivia Munn hooks up with the psychiatric guys and manages to actually outlive almost everyone. That's not much of a spoiler. It's Olivia Munn. They have to have boobs in the movie somewhere. Yeah. Personally, I need to tell you about the movie itself. Because I could tell you about the rest of the details in the movie, and that would spoil it, and I don't want to do that. Was it a good movie? Well, it wasn't bad. It's a Predator movie. Personally, I thought 2 was better than 1, and I know I'm in the minority here. Did Predators happen, that movie? Don't know. They didn't say. This one, though, you know what? It had good chase scenes. It had good action. Did it have good banter? Because action movies need to have good banter. Well, the banter could have been better, but it was better than Arnie's group in movie 1. I'm just saying. Was there a good bad guy in the movie? Well, if you count the human who was a bad guy, yeah, he was a dick. And you were looking forward to him dying, and, okay, here's a minor spoiler. And something you'll be glad about when you realize that this is streaming, or if you watch it on DVD, he has a really funny death that you'll want to rewind and watch again and again. It's one of those things.
Funny deaths are good deaths.
So, I guess just a thing to throw in for Predator fans. Some Predator plot points are given, like why they actually rip people's heads off and pull out the spine. Yes, that's graphic, and that's the only reason this movie is rated R apart from the language. You tone down the language, it could be PG-13, and you know what? That would be fine.
So you're saying we could eventually see Once Upon a Predator? That would be weird.
That would be really weird, and I hope they don't do that.
I don't think they will.
But you know what? It wasn't a bad movie, and it's streaming. I'm sure you can find it cheap somewhere. So the other movie I review is considerably better. Just hang out for that.
You were entertained.
I was entertained, and that's the purpose of a movie, especially one like this.
Yeah, directed by Shane Black, he's been around for a while. He doesn't seem like he has been.
He was even in the first Predator movie.
Yeah, he was in the first Predator movie. He wrote Lethal Weapon. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
He directed Iron Man 3, directed The Nice Guys, directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So based on his track record, I was thinking, this is going to be awesome. So I'm glad that it's at least entertaining.
It's not awesome, but it's really good.
There you go. Which, like you said,
that's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a movie like this. So, excellent. The next movie I am reviewing was, I would say I enjoyed it considerably more than Rob enjoyed The Predator. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I really liked The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Uh-oh.
Creed 2 was... Creed 2 is an excellent, excellent movie. If you haven't seen Creed, you need to see Creed before you see Creed 2, because this is a sequel. This picks up on the story. If somehow you don't know what the story is, this is a continuation of the Rocky Balboa sequence. Creed is the son of Apollo Creed, is Adonis Creed. And just watch the first Creed movie if you haven't, because Creed 2 won't make any sense if you don't. So it'll make sense, but you'll miss half of what's going on. The premise of Creed 2 is an old foe pops back up. The son of Ivan Drago, the guy, the "I will break you," that guy from Rocky IV, the son pops up. And the son challenges Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo, the lead character, to a match. And it follows the typical Rocky script from there. There's a couple fights. Watch it and see who wins. I'll just put it that way. But the movie is so, so good. Sylvester Stallone was nominated for an Oscar for Creed as a Best Supporting Actor, which I thought was really cool, except Michael B. Jordan wasn't as the lead, and he was better than Stallone. And he is better than Stallone in this again. Michael B. Jordan is like a freaking phenomenal actor, because he can carry any movie, but he carries, like, he's a full-fledged actual person. It's not like you're watching a character. This is like, okay, this is how this person would act, because he's tough, he's angry, he's vulnerable, which you don't see that a lot in movies like this. And man, he is just a phenomenal actor, and he's fantastic in Creed 2. I don't know if I like it more than Creed, but because it's a little more formulaic, because it kind of follows this pattern of the Rocky movies and kind of has to. But, oh my God, this movie is so good for the performances alone. Tessa Thompson plays his wife. The boxing scenes are excellent. But again, this is Michael B. Jordan's show. Stallone came out. He's announced that he's done with the Rocky character after this. It's just time to move on. He doesn't need to be in the franchise anymore, because basically it's time for the new blood to take over, meaning, of course, Michael B. Jordan. So we'll see if that happens. Maybe he'll do a cameo or something in the next one, because, yeah, there's going to be a next one. But if you like dramas, go see Creed 2. If you like boxing movies, go see Creed 2. And if you're a fan of phenomenal acting, I don't know why. If you're not, I don't know why you're listening to us, but man, Michael B. Jordan is like absolutely phenomenal in this movie. And he is in everything. Yeah, even in the crappy Fantastic Four movies, he's worth watching. But God, he's good in this. The guy can just do anything, and he has a lot to work with in this movie. So Creed 2, terrific movie. Go see it.
See, that's what I was going to say about the movie I was going to review, just to wrap up the show, because and I know we've both been looking forward to this one, because Creed 2, I kind of looked at it and went, oh goody, more Rocky, but Creed 1 I thought was great.
Yeah.
So going to see Creed 2 at some point, but I really wanted to see this movie, because it's a biopic, which I'd normally try to stay away from, because they're usually boring and depressing, really. And quite honestly, this one should be. Except Bohemian Rhapsody is an incredible movie from start to finish. If you don't know Bohemian Rhapsody, it is the biopic of mostly Freddie Mercury, but all of Queen is involved. And it's just a great story of how they got together in the first place. The music, of course, it's incredible. It's Queen, who is one of the best bands that has ever existed. I think one of the questions about it or a couple of the questions. What, was it based on a true story? At least partially. How accurate is it? I don't know. I wasn't there at the time. But considering what I do know, it seems to be fairly accurate. Is it worth going to see in a theater? Absolutely. I don't know when the DVD is coming out, but when it does, I'm going to be getting it because I want to see this movie more than once, which is bizarre because I knew the story roughly going in. I know more details now. I know more about some of the songs now. Still want to see this again because this movie was awesome. In the old Full of Awe version, not totally 80s awesome. This was just all around an awesome movie. I want this to win Oscars. Multiples. Wow. Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, he nailed this. I mean, he even has the appearance down. Perfectly done. Gwilliam Lee as Brian May, nailed it. Ben Hardy as Roger Taylor, nailed it. Joseph Mazzello as John Deacon, nailed it. I mean, they were spot on from beginning to end. As far as I know, I have never met the members of Queen. I do not know specifically what happened in their lives because, like I said, I wasn't there. But from what I know and, knowing their appearances and everything, they nailed this. This was the perfect biopic. And here's something I didn't think I would be saying anytime soon. Give Bryan Singer a Best Director nod again.
Really?
Because it was beautiful. There was nothing wrong with this movie. I mean, we can look at movies and go, this was great except for this, this, and this. This was great except for this, this, and this. This had nothing wrong with it that I saw. It's one of those movies. I mean, is this one of the best movies of all time? I'm going to have to say yes. I don't know if it's the best movie of all time, but it's definitely in the top 10.
Well, now I have something to watch this weekend. Along with
this is exactly. It's to me anyway. This movie was that good.
Any time that you can start that conversation, is this one of the best movies of all time? And then you pause. whether you say yes or no afterwards, that tells you everything you need to know. I mean, that it's even in the conversation. It's like, oh my God! And of course, that's your opinion.
It is. I'm sure someone's going to write the show and go, oh, I didn't like it because Rami Malek had teeth or something. Freddie Mercury had teeth. Shut up.
Yeah, which movies it's an objective experience, obviously. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I was looking forward. It's just one of these things. Do I have time? As we all know, it's hard to fit things in. But this is one of the movies I was really looking forward to see, and even more so now, with possibly one of the 10 best movies of all time for Rob. It's like, yes, I'm. If I wasn't on board before,
you just said it. It's hard to find time. This is one of those movies you might want to make time.
Beautiful.
I mean, even if you were a passive fan of Queen. I mean, I liked Queen to begin with.
Right.
Because the music was awesome.
Well, I would say if you like rock music at all.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're a fan of interesting stories, which I think most people who go to movies would fit in that category. It sounds like this is the perfect thing to spend your time on. And I like that you brought up, is everything correct? It's like, it's a biographical drama. It's not a documentary. And when people get hung up on, was this true or not? It's interesting to know, did this really happen, et cetera. But when people get hung up on, well, that didn't happen, and they blame, and somehow this is a flaw in the movie, it's not a documentary. And even documentaries, people choose what to film. They choose how to present it. Unless, like you were saying, unless you're there, even documentaries are just a version of what happened. So don't get hung up on, is that accurate or not? I mean, it's fun to think about it, but, don't say, oh, the movie's wrong. It's a movie.
I do want to throw this in because this threw me off, and I might have liked it a little bit better had I known going in. because when they start the movie, they put all the names up of who's going to be in the movie, and one of the names struck me as odd, and I didn't catch where he was until later because of makeup. Mike Myers is in this movie.
I've heard that. I don't know who he plays, but I heard.
Oh, that's what threw me off. I've forgotten the guy's name, and this is not much of a spoiler because this is a historical thing. When Queen released the song Bohemian Rhapsody, the guy in charge of the record company didn't want to because it's too long. He wants to go with this other song, and made a big stink about it, and there's a big scene about it in the movie, leading to Queen leaving that record company, with Freddie making the line of, "You will forever be known as the guy who lost Queen." That's who Mike Myers is playing, is the guy who loses Queen.
That's awesome.
And you're going to, at the end of the movie, again, not much of a spoiler, they recreate Live Aid.
Right.
Which is fine. I think it was very well done, and I get that, and go for it. I'll watch it again. Like I said, I want the DVD and just, loop it or something.
Yeah.
There's a bit during Live Aid when Mike Myers' character pops up again, and it's beautiful. I'll just leave it at that.
Cool.
And, I thought that even before I realized, because I had to come home and go, okay, who the hell was Mike? Oh, Mike was, okay, I got it.
Interesting.
It's a great movie. Highly, highly recommend go seeing it. So, see, ending on a beautiful high note. Ta-da!
So we actually saw movies that we didn't have to. So that's like we saw 4 movies that we all enjoyed. All
exactly.
So yeah, when the least of the films is one that was really entertaining. Wow,
it's going to be a good week.
That's a very, very good week. A lot to see. Definitely.
So what do you need to do this weekend? Get out and see a movie.
That's pretty much it.